You mentioned Kim Foxx. Focus on that for a second. Is she the main reason? Who is this woman? What's her problem?
Yes. So Kim Foxx, the state's attorney, was first elected in 2016. She was heavily backed by George Soros, who has always made it a big part of his platform, and the candidates that he supports are kind of the social justice characters. I believe he backed Chesa Boudin out in San Francisco, who was, I think, recently resigned. And so we have now this problem in Kim Foxx, who in the 3 years that she has been the state prosecutor, the state's attorney, 25,000 felony cases have been dropped, 25,000. Over 300 people, or around 250, 300 people have left her office because they are just so sickened by what's going on. Law enforcement has retirements of upwards of 200%, and the crime rates are going up. So I would say, who else are we supposed to point fingers at if it's not the person who should be prosecuting people who deserve to be prosecuted?
Catalina, it shocks me that they allowed this, even a nutball like Kim Foxx and Lori Lightfoot, that they allowed this to get out of the bad neighborhoods. Okay, poor neighborhoods have crime problems. That's not exactly something new. That's the history of the world. But allowing this to get up into the districts where women go to town with their husbands and buy $7,000 purses kind of seems like a dumb business decision, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what? It all stemmed, I believe, the beginning of this was not only the pandemic. We had some of the most draconian lockdowns in Cook County, which really destroyed the restaurants and the businesses. Magnificent Mile, if you've heard that term before, where all the Michigan Avenue is, all the nice hotels, the restaurants, the shopping, all of that suffered significantly. But then you had the riots, the BLM riots after the George Floyd incident, and that really impacted the city. You had upwards of 66 millions of dollars worth of damage. Crime went up. People who were a part of that crime had slap on the wrist, were never thrown in jail or for crimes that they committed, all because of the state's attorney. And so you see that effect when people aren't being held accountable for their actions. Then they're going to think that this is a free-for-all. And this is any criminal in any city or any state. If you do not lay down the law, criminals will continue to believe that if they're not going to get caught, they're going to continue to do what they're doing. So until we have better leadership, a better state's attorney, a better mayor, this is unfortunately the consequences of a Democrat run city. And unfortunately, again, our city has been, I've lived here my whole life in Illinois. Chicago was always a staple for all of us, especially out here in the suburbs, in the quiet suburbs. You go to Chicago for a weekend, and unfortunately it has changed. People are moving out left and right. And it's just, I don't know what it's going to take. It's going to take better leadership and better policies implemented. But on top of that, think about the emotional and the psychological impact on our law enforcement community. As a former nominee for U.S. Congress, I was able to talk with a lot of our cops and a lot of law enforcement officials who had to move out here because they were forced to choose between their own safety and or their careers and their livelihoods. So they come out to the suburbs. They try to join the law enforcement out here because it was just too dangerous to do it out in Cook County and Chicago because of the policies that are impacting our law enforcement community as well. I don't know if you heard about the cash bail reform bill, the Safety Act, that was going to eliminate cash bail, allowing second-degree murder suspects to walk free. And, these things have consequences. And on top of that, all of the gun legislation that they have tried to continue to push. So when we already feel unsafe, law enforcement feels unsafe, can't even do their job, they want to prevent law-abiding citizens from defending themselves.
Support the First TV today and get instant access to exclusive specials like Who is Ron DeSantis, the history of FBI scandals, and America's worst presidents. Visit thefirsttv.com/support or download the First TV app to become a supporter and start watching today.